Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city. And those dead bodies are speaking of the spiritually dead bodies of the children of Israel. The children of Israel, known today as the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And that great city that they're spiritually lying dead in is the United States of America, where the majority of our people are. Over 2/3 of our people here, whether they've heard the word or not, they refuse to acknowledge that they're the children of Israel and want to continue to live as, being so-called Black, African American, Latino, Mexican, Native American. They want to be Christian, Baptist, a Muslim, a Pan-Africanist, Republican, Democrat. The list goes on and on. They even want to be a part of that alphabet group beginning with LG. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. And the United States of America is known as spiritual Egypt because it's serving in the exact same function that ancient Egypt served for the children of Israel, a place of hardcore bondage and slavery, perpetual second-class citizenship. And this place also uses a lot of the same practices and symbolisms as ancient Egypt. Just look at the back of your $1 bill with that pyramid. The Washington Monument is an obelisk. They have the Luxor, which is a pyramid in Las Vegas, Nevada. They have a place called Memphis, Tennessee, that also has a mock pyramid in it. And it should be self-evident why the United States of America is known as spiritual Sodom. This is the #1 nation on the face of the earth that pushes that alphabet death style onto the rest of the planet through its geopolitics, which what happens when countries such as Uganda don't want to go along with that agenda. They get hardcore sanctions slapped on them, and through their entertainment and media like Hollywood or these different social media platforms, where also our Lord was crucified, the Son of the Most High, Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus, who doesn't look like a so-called white man or Edomite with brown stringy hair and blue eyes, but as pursuant to Revelation chapter 1, around verse 14, he has the appearance of a dark-skinned Negro with a white woolly beard and afro. Yahweh Shai was spiritually crucified here. These Edomites replaced his image with that false image of Jesus Christ or Caesar Borgia, and this country does everything completely contrary to the scriptures, regardless of them saying that this is a Christian nation. And in this video, I'll be going into a few bits of information just to further hammer in that point, that this place is truly spiritual Sodom, spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah. But the first bit of information I'll be going to is on RT.com, and the title reads, California to provide free SEX changes for illegal immigrants. Some 700,000 extra people will now be able to avail of hormone treatment and bender reassignment. That great city, spiritually known as Sodom and Egypt. As of last week, California's taxpayer-funded healthcare system now covers SEX changes for illegal immigrants, thanks to legislation recently signed by Governor Gavin Newsom. The cost of the program is expected to top $3 billion. Hey, what a responsible way to use taxpayer money. Here we have a failing infrastructure in this country, a failing economy, rising inflation, homeless veterans, children starving. Hey, you might as well consider the U.S. a third world country at this point. But what? They've got $3 billion to put aside for Decepticons, and also they've got billions to put aside for that lost cause over in Ukraine. This country is a complete joke. California became the first state in the U.S. to provide health insurance to all adults, regardless of immigration status, on January 1st, when legislation signed by Newsom last summer came into effect. Approximately 700,000 illegal immigrants will now have their health care covered by the state's taxpayer-funded Medi-Cal insurance system, according to a press release from State Senator Maria Elena Durazo in May. And that sounds like a so-called Hispanic name. So more likely than not, that's an Israelite woman of the Northern Kingdom, an example of one of those spiritually dead Israelites going along with the wicked status quo in this wicked country, spiritual Sodom and Egypt. But that's it with this article. You get the point. Now I'm going to go to my next bit of information on Redacted's YouTube channel titled, "Oh shit, she's pushing this at the White House now. What's next?" Redacted with Clayton Morris, just to further, drive it home that the United States of America is truly spiritual Sodom and Egypt. But this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes, and I'm going to play about the first minute or so of this clip.
Well, are transgender people being killed left and right and in mortal danger of homicide? That's what the White House wants you to think. So they virtue signaled about caring about it without talking about any of the reasons that this happens or the rate at which it happens, which proves to you they do not care about it. They just want the optics that they care about it. So let's take a look. This is White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre saying that they pay tribute to the 26 transgender Americans who were killed this year.
Now, a so-called black woman, a Judite woman, an Israelite woman, another spiritually dead Israelite.
Today, on Transgender Day of Remembrance, we grieve the 26 transgender Americans who were killed this year. Year after year, we see that these victims are disproportionately black women and women of color.
More spiritually dead Israelites that want to be everything else under the sun, but who they are.
No one should face violence, live in fear, or be discriminated against simply for being themselves. As the president said, there's still more to do to meet the promise. And it's why this administration has taken urgent action to strengthen rights and protect the safety of transgender Americans and all LGBTQ plus Americans. As we mourn the loss of lives that have been taken too soon, we must also recommit ourselves to never stop fighting until all Americans can live free from the discrimination and also from hate.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
I said with that clip, but as you can see, this is getting pushed up from the very top all the way on down. This is 2 Esdras chapter 2 in the Apocrypha. I'm going to read verses 8 to 9. Woe or destruction be unto thee, Ashur or Assyria. And besides being known as spiritual Sodom and Egypt in the scriptures, the United States of America is also known as Babylon the Great, as well as Assyria, Ashur in some scriptures, spiritually. Woe be unto thee, Ashur, thou that hidest the unrighteous in thee. And we can clearly see from that clip that the United States of America, spiritual Assyria, hides the unrighteous in them, giving them preferential treatment and having a Transformer Remembrance Day for all those Decepticons that died in that particular year. And if you continue to watch that clip, you'll see that in a lot of those instances, it was the Decepticons that initiated that violence that led to their death. Pulling a gun or stabbing up their partner or roommate, looking for illicit sexual activity. And in one instance, one of them was jaywalking and got hit by a car, but it was still labeled as a hate crime. Madness. O thou wicked people, remember what I did unto Sodom and Gomorrah, whose land lieth in clods of pitch and heaps of ashes. And it's going to be no different for this modern day Sodom and Gomorrah that's committing the very same acts that led to ancient Sodom and Gomorrah being destroyed with fire and brimstone from the sky. This modern day Sodom and Gomorrah is going to be destroyed by modern fire and brimstone. 200 million nuclear missiles. We're just going to turn this place into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland. Afterwards, even so also will I do unto them that hear me not, saith the Almighty Yahweh. And we know this isn't talking about ancient Assyria, because the lands that make up ancient Assyria today over in that Middle Eastern region, really Western Asia, are still inhabited unto this very day. And also, by the time the prophet Esdras came onto the scene, he was in the Medo-Persian Empire, and the Assyrian Empire was long gone by this point. So this is speaking of spiritual Assyria, spiritual Sodom and Egypt, the United States of America, which, as it says, O thou wicked people, remember what I did unto Sodom and Gomorrah, whose land lieth in clods of pitch and heaps of ashes, turned into a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland, which is exactly what is about to happen to this place. But I'm going to close it out in Isaiah chapter 13. I'm going to start at verse 19. And Babylon, the virgin daughter of Babylon, Babylon the Great, the United States of America, the glory of kingdoms, that so-called American dream, that place whose streets were paved with gold, where anybody could come to make a life for themselves, though it's quickly turning into a nightmare for the people here. The beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah with that fire and brimstone from the sky, whose lands lieth in ashes and clods of pitch. Verse 20, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. And this is another cut showing that this isn't talking about the ancient Neo-Babylonian Empire, which is modern-day Iraq, and people dwell there unto this very day. This Babylon will never be inhabited ever again. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall their shepherds make their fold there. When those 200 million nuclear missiles hit this place, it's going to again be turned into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards. And after a time, only desert creatures, harsh creatures, will be able to dwell here. Verse 21, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. And we can clearly see that the days of Babylon, spiritual Sodom and Egypt, spiritual Assyria, the United States of America, are very near to come, and her days are no longer being prolonged. This place is collapsing economically, morally, and militarily, and we're seeing these end times prophecies begin to come to pass right before our very eyes. There are talks of World War III and nuclear weapons getting used in what? The CHIPIMPLANT, the MARKOFTHEBEAST in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 to 18, being talked about more and more in the mainstream news. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. Hey, as we can clearly see, we are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the biblical Edomites, primarily from spiritual Sodom and Egypt, Babylon, the United States of America. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.